Tom, or Tusen Takk. I have to say, yeah, these lights are bright. Wow. We talked a little bit about, funny enough, about rocket science. And the funny thing is, I grew up near to Langley Research and Development, not even a mile and a half away. And if you know about Langley Research and Development, that's where NASA does a lot of, did its research on space exploration, the Apollo missions back in the 60s. And so a lot of rocket scientists living in my neighborhood. Unfortunately, I didn't go into space. I decided to go into shipping. So I'm going to share with you within a short period of time, about 10, 15 minutes, about digitalization, ports and terminals, where we are. And hopefully this will be a catalyst for some of you to think about some of the opportunities, because there are quite a lot of opportunities that are available, because we have so many challenges in this very, very complex and I want to say volatile industry. So let me go ahead and see if this works. Okay, so this is going to be fun. This is a PowerPoint presentation I gave many years ago when I first started my Ph.D. And the idea was that, yes, we're going to have the internet. I think this was in 2002. So I presented this slide and at a terminal operator conference. And you know, today we're still not able to communicate, to integrate. And this is almost 21 years later. There are, of course, a lot of reasons for this, namely standards, protocols. Like, for example, right now I'm speaking English to you so we can communicate. Also, we have some rules, like, for example, I'm speaking, you listen, and then when there's a Q&A, you'll ask questions, and I'll try to answer. But unfortunately, as I point out, we still haven't gotten to that holy grail of integration. So I'll go on to the agenda here, just basically an update of the current challenges. Digital transformation, there's a whole basket of abbreviations such as IoT, which is Internet of Things, AI, artificial intelligence. I'll touch upon blockchain a little bit. A couple of case stories and studies and success stories. I've worked on many, many projects over the last 32 years. In fact, I was just looking at my calendar. Tomorrow will be October 12th. This is when I first started my work in the industry, working for Evergreen in 1992. So it'll be, unbelievable, long year, a long time working in this business. Some of the challenges I'll share with you, and then of course we will get to future trends and a conclusion. So coming back to the introduction here is just I want to share with you some stats, and that this is a very large industry. We talk about blue economy. This is the largest economy globally. We do see a lot of opportunities, growth, even though we had some setbacks over the last couple of years with COVID and the wars being fought globally. But this is still leading to, there's still a demand for cargo. Even here in the Baltic Sea region, there's still opportunities. There is growth taking place. And these statistics, by the way, I have obtained from various consultancy reports, namely from Drury, UNCTAD, and also from World Bank. And in the bottom, you see my references. These are, as Tom was mentioning, I do publish, do research. So I do have references as well that you can obtain. So coming to the next slide here is digitalization. Is it a new technology? No, it's not. What I find is that we first had to think about digitizing the information, the data. Because even today, there are ports and terminals, even here, where a lot of the processes are being conducted manually, where you're writing down a truck number, writing down the license number, writing down this information on paper, and then this is then inputted. So this task of digitizing could be done, of course, a lot quicker. And then once we have that data in a digital format, what this enables, of course, is Now we can do some planning, forecasting. Then comes, as more and more of everyone has been seeing in the press about ChatGPT and machine learning, now we can use advanced algorithms to do planning, forecasting, prediction, scheduling, and a lot of other fun things that can help in optimizing and locating efficiencies. So in the digital transformation of ports, what I see is that more and more ports, and as mentioned earlier, I've worked in some big ports. One of the biggest is over in Dubai, where literally 17.5 million containers are being handled yearly. So obviously we have to find ways, and not just the big ports. That's why I'm also working in a project called Digitech Ports 2030, where we'll be focusing on tailoring some of these solutions that have been working in the big terminals, how we can use that in smaller, medium-sized ports and terminals in the Baltic. So the theme here is how to tailor some of these digitalization tools, these technologies, such as IoT, AI, blockchain, to find efficiencies. So with IoT, of course, this is for the tracking and tracing and predicting equipment maintenance solutions. And a little bit of history for everyone is that when I was a student studying in the U.S. Around 1990, we had the Gulf War with Iraq. And what we learned from that lesson was that the U.S. military, over 25% of the cargo was lost. And some of it was just not correct. For example, why the United States sent a snowplower with 5 tons of salt to Kuwait. So obviously there were mistakes made and a lot of lessons learned. And one of the ideas behind that war was the introduction of TAV. TAV was total asset visibility. So we were working with the U.S. military and, of course, with some defense organizations and at my university as well, is that having basically transmitters, big boxes that were costing $30, $35 a piece, and being able to communicate to satellites that were only allocated to the defense industry or to the military. Obviously, this is very expensive, and no one can pay for such a solution unless you're a defense organization like the U.S. military. So today, with Internet of Things, the other day, I was looking for my wallet, and fortunately, I have an AirTag. Are you all familiar with the AirTags today? Great solution from Apple. You just put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, put it in your wallet in my case, and now you can track and locate your device or your material. So what I'm trying to get across is that the cost, the technologies have come down so low in pricing, so it's now available as a commercial solution. AI. Yes, I've been working with AI since 2000. Today, it's used very, very liberally. I mean, everything that you see is AI. Actually, you need to start questioning what is AI, because there's actually, you'll see in a couple of slides later, there's many technologies associated with artificial intelligence, and I'll discuss that a bit. Blockchain, this is, obviously, many of you have heard about blockchain. Some of you have had some skepticism. As mentioned earlier, I'm working with a company, a startup. I'm the head of data science on a platform where we are predicting pricing for cryptocurrency, and obviously with cryptocurrency that's based upon blockchain. Also, we've used blockchain for simple documentation, smart contracts. So this is some opportunities here. And then automation. I will share with you some of my one case I worked on where we developed, believe it or not, over 20 years ago, a autonomous guided vehicle for moving containers in a terminal. So I'm going to ask the technician here to play the bottom right video for me. So basically what I want to share with you in this video in the bottom right is just to show some of the opportunities in using digitalization. Reasons, for example, is accessing data, of course, getting a real-time situation. This is actually focusing more and more with what we call digital twin, where we can get a simulated view of in this case, a port terminal, so that for you that are managers, directors, you can make intelligent decisions based upon the visualization and, of course, the data. When you're looking at the visualization, that's one piece, but when you're seeing the data, for example, moves per hour, energy consumed, or perhaps you may see a congestion taking place in one area of the port, as a decision maker, as a manager, you can then execute a change. You can perhaps start doing some managing. So this is really interesting when it comes to digital twin and using, of course, technology from IoT, communication sensors, technologies such as 5G networks and so forth. So AI in port management, and I like this, this topography. This is old school from 1998. This is from two professors out in Stanford, and they're quite famous in the area of AI. So in looking at AI, you have many types. You have the most common one today is the machine learning, namely because everyone, you have iPhones, right? And you're now syncing to the cloud. Remember that, the cloud. And this, what this means is that now with all this data available, we can look at, for example, what was handled years ago or yesterday, weather, temperature, the price of gold, currency exchange rates, and on and on and on, all that data. So now with this data being stored in servers, next comes the opportunity in using various algorithms in where we can try to identify patterns, correlations, where we can train our solution to then identify a sweet spot, a goal or an objective. In my area, I've worked in the center, which is multi-agents, where you have basically objects that are acting, behaving like humans. And I had the conversation, I think, the other day about what is a rational human, because there's a lot of concern from the public about AI, and that AI will overtake humans. And I believe in this one, I want to say, camp of decision makers, is that artificial intelligence will not take over humans for two reasons. And that is basically because we are so irrational, our behavior. So that's number one. And number two, we are the ones that have designed the AI to begin with. So this is, I think, for some of you, this should be comforting to know that AI will not take over or replace humanity. If anything, I believe that using, as a technology, as a tool, AI can help you. It can help you with decision making, support you as an assistant. So here I'm presenting you from the automation, the AGVs over here in the top left, or excuse me, where I'm looking top right, you see AGVs autonomously working. I'm actually in that picture over there, blocking the view with my jacket. But the idea was that the AGVs would communicate, and then without any direct or centralized control, navigating, processing, going from the vessel to the yard to drop containers off. And as you see here with simulation, this helps with microsimulation, actually. This helps to identify where we could optimize the layouts, understand how many AGVs we need per crane. So I think, for some people, this is rather interesting when it comes to trying to optimize, organize. Also from the computing power, this is a simulation from 15 years ago. So, today with the power of game engines, this is amazing in that, watching some of these games, they're so real-like, lifelike. Perhaps we can use some of that technology in planning, organizing operations, such as in a port terminal domain. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So coming back to what I showed you earlier with automation, a little bit of AI. Now, I know for some of you that are working the bulk terminals, you often feel alone, that you're never addressed to. It's always the container terminals that get all the attention. But I'm just going to focus right here in that only 40 terminals. For example, here in Klaipėda, you have 2 terminals. in this port. So only 40 terminals globally out of 2,000 plus are using some bits of automation. So there's a lot of opportunities in introducing some elements of AI and automation. For the break bulk, also there are some opportunities in as well introducing elements of AI, automation, digitalization. And of course, I like to say, everyone, I don't like the idea of going around with a tool, like for example, a hammer, and then trying to find solutions and then trying to hammer them and hopefully they work. I'd rather take the approach where you come to a problem, understand it, design it, and then have a solution that's been tailored to that problem. So coming to automation, what I want to share with you is that there are different levels of automation and AI that can be applied. And this is where I said to you earlier, it's very important to break down, and this is what an engineer does, is that when you look at a problem, you try to break it down to its core fundamentals. So here I'm looking at the water side operations from the terminal to the vessel, the horizontal transport, the storage. So when cargo is brought into the terminal, how it's handled. Rail operations. So for example, in Klaipėda, you have some significant rail operations that are unique to that area. And then of course processing. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of processes are still handled manually. Even here in Klaipėda, there's opportunity for improvement by introducing some automated or robotic processes. So some applications where we can use AI, for example, is predicting when a vessel arrives here in Klaipėda, how it's going to impact perhaps the traffic, right, everyone? Perhaps there's sometimes a lot of traffic in the city, the planning on the berth, also the yard allocation for the containers, resource planning, for example, the dock workers, the staff, also looking at performance during a peak time. And then also the unproductive moves, trying to understand where you have moves taking place, how we can reduce that. Going into the yard, how we can predict the dwell time of a cargo, containers, the impact as well, yard allocations. Also the moves between stacks in the yard, resource planning again is being considered, performance at peak. Getting onto the gate, because after all, a port is integrated or has a interaction with the gate, with the network, the rails. So we need to understand when trucks are arriving, what the impact is. Again, shuffle moves, resource planning, performance at peak, the external infrastructure. For example, is there any construction work on the bridge? Maybe there is some delays on the highway that are causing some problems. And then we have predictive maintenance impacts, the availability of the equipment. For example, for some of you, the cranes that you see here in Klaipėda, those big container cranes, those are about 9 to 10 million euro. So very important that those cranes are used, I want to say, as efficiency as possible. Reliability, of course, resource planning, and then, of course, performance and peak. So for the challenges and opportunities, is that I see that we can use, I don't want to say intelligent, I rather say smart. How we can use smart tools and technologies and ideas in order to improve the operations. And what I'm sharing to you here, again, is just to reinforce that this industry right here, the blue economy here in Klaipėda, this is part of a global industry of $21.5 trillion. That's right, 21.5. This is the largest industry in the world. Because think about it, everything in this room probably was I want to say, transported from another part of the world. Also having the raw materials, and then you get into the finished product and so forth. So it's huge. And then looking at the equipment side, this is, again, container, bulk, all equipment, all machinery, as well as shipyards. We're looking at $11.7 billion industry. IT services are about 4.5. So, for example, working in the port in Dubai, we've developed terminal operating systems, automated gate systems, all this IT services. This is 4.5 billion. And then the consulting services. So I assume there's a couple of consultants here. I've seen a couple yesterday. Is that this industry is also 1.6 billion. Now, I'm sorry that you can't see very clearly in the screen here, but this is to show you all, not all, I apologize. What I could find are the companies working in various areas of this industry. So I put some logos so you can see, and I think you get the idea. This is a very large industry, the largest in the world. Many companies are coming in, and actually a lot of these companies, their logos that I posted, are rather new. So we're seeing a lot of new players coming in, and I think this is exciting. And for people that are looking to get into this industry, I think this is a great time. I heard earlier about angel investors. This is what we need, more angel investors, because unfortunately, this industry doesn't get a lot of good attention. People still think of it as very old-fashioned, conservative, and this is what we need to do in conferences like this, is to break down those stereotypes, offer the opportunity for exchange, knowledge transfer, and this is one of the reasons I like going to these conferences. I get to learn, and I feel also, I feel it's good for me as well to share my experiences and also some of the knowledge that I've picked up over the last 32 years. So the question, of course, I say for young people that are thinking to go into this industry is to think, where are you? Maybe this could be an exciting area to get in. Very, very exciting industry. And I remember when I first started my career on October 12th, 1991, was the statement made by the captain that was hiring me. He said, "Son, you're not going to make a lot of money in this industry, but you're going to go places." I said, "Well, that sounds like fun." So yeah, I never thought I would be in Lithuania back, 32 years ago. So just to wrap up, this is just to show Box Bay. This is a new innovation in Dubai. It's the only one in the world, and this shows you when you have the backing and you have the, I want to say, the vision, like they did in Dubai, to build something that many said could not be built, which was an automated container stacking system. 13 containers high, fully automated. On the bottom left, or I'm trying to think, right here, where I'm pointing, is that's an automated truck. So this was really cool in that we were working with this company, and we found a lot of opportunities in where, again, applying technology. And I think, again, applying technology where we can see benefits. So thank you, everyone. I try to hopefully keep to time. If I haven't, I apologize. But if you want more information, we can meet during the break. And of course, I have my link here. There you can find a lot of papers, publications, and of course, a little bit about me. Thank you.